Good evening and welcome to this semester's last installment of HPU News. I'm Sydney Chevron.
And I'm Sean Wrinkle. Tonight, the suspect behind the Facebook Live murders meets his end.
And learn why British Prime Minister Theresa May is calling for a snap election 2.5 years in advance.
But first, let's throw it over to our weatherman for the day, Kevin McMahon. What does Mother Nature have in store for us, Kevin?
Well, thanks, Sean. Mother Nature is playing 0 games. The high pressure and the low pressure are having a little rendezvous, and there is going to be some thunderstorms going on this weekend, but they're going to clear out, and we're going to have some sunshine, people. But more on that in a little bit. Back to you guys. Over to Livy.
That's right, Kevin. Unfortunately, since it's our last show till fall, I have to give you guys a nice summary of all the music, movies, and shows you'll need to watch this summer. But for now, let's head back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you, Livy and Kevin. We'll touch base with you guys later in the show.
But right now, Facebook Live murder suspect Steve Stevens committed suicide on Tuesday after police pursuit ended in Pennsylvania. Stevens was accused of killing Robert Goodwin, a 74-year-old man, as he walked home from an Easter Sunday meal. Stevens broadcast the seemingly random killing on Facebook Live. He then fled the state and led police on a chase for nearly 2 days. Stevens was only tracked down when he got held up at McDonald's. Employees said they recognized him and called the police. When Stevens pulled up to the window, the employees gave him his nuggets and told him he had to wait for his fries in order to give the police enough time to get there. Stevens fled and was caught 5 miles away, where he took his own life.
Prime Minister Theresa May called for a snap election Tuesday morning, 2.5 years earlier than the general election. With larger and larger divisions forming in the British government, something had to change. May wants to take a more aggressive approach to Brexit talks, but can't get that done because of other parties blocking her path. This is a controversial move since it is something she swore she'd never do. The snap election is planned for June 8th, just a month and a half away. Members of opposing parties said they would not interfere with these plans.
And after a 21-year run, Bill O'Reilly's The O'Reilly Factor will come to an end in the wake of multiple harassment allegations against the conservative host. A statement from Bill O'Reilly was released shortly after the announcement stating, quote, "It is tremendously disheartening that we part ways due to completely unfounded claims, but that is the unfortunate reality many of us in the public eye must live with today," end quote. O'Reilly was allegedly involved in multiple settlements totaling $13 million, with 5 women accusing the host of sexual harassment or verbal abuse.
Last week, we saw heightening tensions as North Korea attempted to host a missile test, and the Trump administration responded by sending an aircraft carrier across the Pacific. The only issue is that the carrier and the other 4 warships in its strike force weren't actually heading to Korea. Instead, we found out on Tuesday that they were heading 3,500 miles southwest of the Korean peninsula towards Australia to take part in joint exercises. According to the White House, this force was always going to Australia, but several things went wrong in a row, leading to Defense Secretary Jim Mattis giving an inaccurate explanation of what was happening.
It's a good thing someone I can count on for accurate explanation of things is our campus update personality, Toby Allen. Unfortunately, Toby couldn't make our last show, so we've called in Dave to fill in for her. Let's see how he does. Dave?
I am not nearly as reliable. For that resounding endorsement, thank you so much, and welcome to the campus update, everyone. It's that time of the year where we only have a week and a half left of classes. But lucky for us, HPU still has plenty to offer. Let's start off with what's coming up tomorrow. It is Earth Day. HPU is celebrating Earth Day by holding a petting zoo, food trucks, and lots of free stuff. The Earth Day event will be held from 11 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. Another event that'll get you out of our dorm, HPU is hosting an outdoor movie, Warm Bodies, at the Cottrell Amphitheater at 8:30 p.m. And the time for graduation is quickly approaching. In honor to this, the cafe is holding a graduation cookout on April 26th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. And get excited, this weekend is concert weekend. Gates to the Hunter Hayes concert open at 7 p.m. Remember to grab your wristbands from the Wannick Center anytime from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. And that's everything going on around campus until you need to start cramming for finals. Have a great rest of the semester. And now back to you guys, Sydney and Sean.
Thanks, Dave. I think some of us are already feeling the stress of finals and cannot wait for the school year to be over.
Yes, very true. But one person, or animal, I should say, is happy that one very special thing is over now.
Definitely. After months of waiting, April the giraffe has finally given birth to a baby boy. The calf was born Saturday morning after a 2-hour-long labor.
Both mom and baby are doing great, according to Animal Adventure Park, owned in Jordan. The calf does not have a name yet because the park is holding a contest to vote for the name. The money raised during the contest will go toward giraffe conservation, as well as a foundation called Ava's Little Heroes that helps children with special needs.
Unfortunately, the live giraffe camera will be taken down in the next few days due to a surge of emails that prevented the park from preparing for their opening day.
Well, when we do come back, sports expert Kit Curtis lets us know what's going on with High Point Sports.
And rail lines in the future might become a lot cleaner and a lot quieter. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
It's harder whenever there's a bigger group. Pretty much a good day for me would be people leaving their hands off of me. I'm always called names. Everywhere that I go, there's always someone calling me names, calling me gay. I've been choked, thrown up against a wall, punched. Nobody's ever tried to help me.
The month of April always reminds us of spring, warm weather, and new growth among nature. However, to some, April is a reminder of something much more dear to their everyday lives. This is the month to celebrate autism awareness, and within the High Point community, a local brewery became the voice of a very special cause. Locals flooded brown.
Get caught buzz driving, and you could do some hard time.
Craig, knock it off.
Sorry, Mom.
It could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. And that could set you back a few years. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Well, welcome back to HPU News. I'm David Wintrode.
And I'm Sean Wrinkle. Kit Curtis could not join us in the studio, is now Dave.
General Motors said late Wednesday that Venezuelan authorities had illegally seized its plant in the industrial hub of Valencia and vowed to take all legal actions to defend its rights. GM said that the seizure of this plant would cause irreparable damage to the company, its 2,679 workers, and its 79 dealers to its suppliers. Venezuela, of course, in the middle of violent protests nationwide.
And law enforcement has recovered video surveillance footage of a New York State judge walking alone near the Hudson River about 12 hours before her body was found in the water. The body of Judge Sheila Abu Salam was found last Wednesday afternoon in the river, and though no note was found, law enforcement thought the investigation pointed to a possible suicide. This investigation is still ongoing, though, as the autopsy report came back inconclusive.
It's a once-in-a-lifetime chance to meet the President of the United States that some New England Patriots players willingly passed up. Some players, like Tom Brady, cited family matters for their absence of the White House trip, and Trump made no mention of that Super Bowl MVP. But the President made sure that those without excuses didn't go unnoticed. He openly called out several players, including Danny Amendola, who weren't in attendance. Harsh.
It's time now to update you on our High Point University sports with Kevin McMahon. But first, Kevin, what do you think of Trump calling out these Patriot players like this?
Well, first, did you see Gronk going into the Spicer?
Gronk was fantastic.
No, I didn't actually.
Spicer was giving an interview, and he went in there and started talking. So funny. I think, but to your question, I think if Trump's going to call everybody out, not just one guy or a couple guys. Call Tom Brady out. I know, but him and Tom are friends, so you never know.
Of course.
All right. Let's talk about those High Point Panthers, huh? After 2 straight weeks on the road, High Point University's men's lacrosse team returned to Vert Stadium and fell to Furman 13-8. Senior Nick Basile scored 3 goals with an assist. Sophomore Tim Troutner Jr. recorded 10 saves, his 18th consecutive game with 10 or more saves. Troutner leads the nation in saves per game. The Panthers are back on the road April 22nd to play at Jacksonville in the final road game of the regular season. The women's lacrosse team continued their record-setting season, beating Liberty 25-7 over the weekend. This was their most goals and points, 39, in a single game for HPU. With the victory over the Flames, the Panthers picked up their 11th straight win, the longest winning streak in school history. But last night, High Point won 17-10 against Campbell. Sam Brown led the Panthers to their 12th straight victory with 5 goals and 2 assists. With the win, High Point clinched the #1 seed in the Big South tournament. High Point will host the Big South semifinals and championship on May 5th and 7th. After winning 2 out of 3 against UNC Asheville, over the weekend, High Point's men's baseball team hosted UNC Greensboro and won 1-0 in a low-scoring game. Josh Green drove in Austin Zinti in the first inning for the only run of the contest. This ended up being the only meeting between the two teams of the season, as their earlier matchup was canceled earlier this year and never rescheduled. High Point will travel to Presbyterian on Friday to open up a 3-game series with the Blue Hose. This will be the first clash between the two Big South foes this season. The High Point men's and women's track and field team participated in the Phoenix Invite this past weekend at Elon University. For the men's team, Alejandro Juan Torres finished first in the 800 meters, and James House won the 200 meters. For the women, Keaton Case placed first in the 800 meters. Kanaje Brown won the 100 meters and 200 meters. Cosette Collin finished first in the 1500 meters for the second consecutive week. Yami Shinnok set a school record for the hammer throw. This weekend, the Panthers will compete in the Duke Invitational in Durham and the Virginia Challenge in Charlottesville. The women's golf team is currently in 96 South Carolina for the Big South Championship. After a first-round score of 304, the team found itself in 6th place. But after breaking a school record on Tuesday, shooting a .286, the team moved up to tie for 3rd place. The Panthers look to have another really good performance today to close out the tournament. The Big South Championship for the men will be April 21st and 23rd, also in 96 South Carolina. Well, boys, that's all the sports I have for the rest of the semester. Good luck to all of our Panthers as they close out the season. Dave, Sean, back to you guys.
Well, thank you so much, Kevin. We are so much happier to have you here at all times than Kit, of course. And good news for pot. A new poll has found if professional athletes turn to marijuana for pain relief, 69% of Americans say that they would approve. After all, 67% of Americans say using a doctor's prescription for an opioid painkiller poses a greater health risk than using medical marijuana, according to a Yahoo News study, which was released Monday. If doctors prescribed marijuana to a patient, then 66% of the country said that they would take it.
And Serena Williams is announcing her pregnancy via Snapchat. Early Wednesday morning, her snap showing off a slight baby bump with the caption 20 weeks. Williams won the Australian Open while pregnant back in January. The news comes a few months after Serena announced her engagement to Reddit co-founder Alexis Ohanian back in December.
When we come back, German rail lines taking a big step away from the diesel industry.
And our own Kevin McMahon has the weather. We'll be right back.
Mom.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for information on how to provide even better care for the person who wants to care of you.
Don't wait. Communicate. Make your emergency plan today.
Welcome back to HPU News. I'm Sydney Chevron.
And I'm Livy Beener. A Tennessee teacher jailed today, and the 15-year-old girl he was suspected of kidnapping was recovered safely as well. Police had suspected that Tad Cummins had kidnapped Elizabeth Thomas, a student of his, since March 13th, when they both disappeared. Tad's wife Jill filed for a divorce several weeks ago.
And Tesla is undergoing crisis control as they recall 53,000 of their Model S and Model X vehicles. The vehicles have been found to have a small gear that interferes with the parking brake, which could potentially cause risk for the drivers. While Tesla has taken action to recall all vehicles thought to have the parking malfunction, shares for the company have also dropped 1% upon the news. There have been no accidents involving either Tesla models. However, the company is staying cautious. In a statement from the company, Tesla predicts that only 5% of the recalled cars will have the malfunction, in which case the fix is simple.
A Utah elementary school principal is under investigation after ordering a first grader to take off his pants as punishment. Police and the school district will not release full details, but the principal, Laurie Lacey, told the student to pull down his pants while she was disciplining him in her office. She then forced him to sit in a chair in the corner of her office. Lacey has been placed on leave as the investigation begins.
And now it's time for our weather forecast with the ever so talented Kevin McMahon. Kevin, what weather can we expect as we get closer to the end of the school year?
Well, thanks, guys. We got some high pressure and low pressure all across the country here, and that's causing some storms to happen when those two meet. I attended and graduated the Steve Harvey School of Weather this morning, and I learned that this is called a front. And when the front's coming in, which it is right here into the East Coast, let me step out here, North Carolina, see that front right here, that's coming, that's rain, and that's not what you want. It's going to start coming to hit us. So if we can go ahead and take a look at the global map, or not the global, the nation's map, here we are. And here's the left coast over here, California over here in the 60s. And what you can't see on the map here is last night there was a ton of rain and water falling from the sky. That's courtesy of the Splash Brothers, baby. The Warriors, big win last night. All right, let's keep looking at it here. We got 60s, warming up deep in the heart of Texas. 84, 86, getting real nice back here. And down in Kit Carter's country, 80s, 70s, warming up in the Northeast. How about that? How about my friends in the Midwest? We're going to talk about them. Still cold. Canada, good. Oh, wow, cold up there. North Carolina, feeling good. 70s and 80s right here in North Carolina. It's like, yeah, if you're staying in High Point, sunny today, beautiful day. Friday, a little sunny, but those high and low pressures in that front, getting a little rainy. Hunter Hayes going to be a little rainy. Shout out to Jay and Rihanna. Bring your umbrella, baby. Sunday, Monday, raining. Got that high pressure, still got clouds. But Wednesday and Thursday, it's all sunny, baby. You can study outside. That's all the weather I got for you this week. And that's what you can expect next week. Back to you guys.
Well, thank you, Kevin. You know, I think you've got a knack for reporting weather.
I definitely agree, Livy. But when we come back, what one South Carolina homeowner found on his front lawn Easter morning? Here's a hint, it was not the Easter Bunny.
And I'll have your entertainment update as well. We'll be right back.
In your new role, we help you help. Visit aarp.org/caregiving for information on how to provide even better care for the person who once took care of you.
And welcome back to our last installment of HPU News. I'm David Wintrow.
And I'm Jordan Hefner.
A South Carolina homeowner found a big surprise on his porch, and it wasn't something the Easter Bunny left behind. Steve Polson and his wife Susie thought something was trying to get into their home on Sunday. When their 16-year-old son went out to investigate, he discovered that it was a 9-foot-long alligator. The alligator had climbed a back stairwell to the porch and nestled between a sofa and a swinging bench. The alligator was then later euthanized.
New Orleans police are looking for a man after surveillance footage catches him breaking into a preschool. The unidentified man crawled through a window to get into the preschool, and instead of stealing anything, made himself at home. He made himself a meal from the staff break rooms and made a makeshift bed out of a mat, blanket, and stuffed toys. He then crawled back out of the window early the next morning.
Well, that man kind of reminds me of our entertainment reporter, Livy Beener, who I'm pretty sure crawls in here every night and sleeps under the desk. Her bed is right down here. Livy, can you confirm this?
You know, with the amount of time I spend in here, I may as well just sleep here, right? But Beauty and the Beast has finally reached its peak and dropped down to 3rd in the box office. The Fate of the Furious came in at #1 this week, and The Boss Baby just hangs in there at 2nd place. But this summer holds a few highly anticipated movies. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 hits the screen May 5th. The 5th and final installment of the Pirates of the Caribbean saga comes out on May 26th. Dead Men Tell No Tales will supposedly be the final tale of Captain Jack Sparrow and the rest of his crew. June 16th, Cars 3 comes out, and June 23rd, Transformers: The Last Night is released. The sequel to the horror flick Amityville Horror and Despicable Me 3 will close out June, being the final releases of the month. July and August have Spider-Man 3 as well as the 3rd movie in the Conjuring saga. Now, summer music is around the corner. Gorillaz are scheduled to drop their first mainstream album in 10 years on May 28th. Hip-hop artist Wale releases Shine on May 5th. Just 1 week after that, One Direction's Harry Styles will release his first self-titled solo album. Styles' first single was released earlier this week and is already at the top of all the charts. That same day, Paramore will make a comeback with their powerful release of After Laughter. Linkin Park and Rascal Flatts will both release albums in May for the first time in several years. June holds All Time Low, Lady Antebellum, Coldplay, and yes, Halsey. Nickelback will also release an album. This is the first time we've heard anything from them since frontman Chad Kroeger and Avril Lavigne got divorced. Iggy Azalea is also rumored to release an album but has yet to confirm a date. The rest of summer has yet to be confirmed, but I'm sure there'll be a ton of surprises in there. Well, have a great summer, High Point. That's all I got for you. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Libby. That will definitely be plenty to keep us entertained over the summer.
That's not true. I'm rarely ever entertained over the summer. And when we return, rail lines may be turning away from diesel to a new source of power.
And what one Florida judge does to calm her courtroom. We'll be right back.
Did you take your medicine? Oh, gosh, I forgot it.
Her nurse.
You need a claim number?
Her personal assistant.
Let me just grab a...
Her housekeeper. Her cook. Her accountant. When I started taking care of Mom, I didn't realize the challenge of playing so many roles. But above all, I'm still her daughter.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving to connect with experts and other caregivers. Together we can better care for ourselves and the ones we love.
This is the story of a boy who didn't talk for a long time. The boy liked things to always be the same. Any changes would scare and upset him. The unknown was an unfriendly place. The boy was very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where they couldn't get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. He wasn't trying to be mean, it just made him feel uncomfortable. Sometimes he would flap his arms again and again.
One day, I found out I had something called autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I found my voice and learned all the ways I could live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
Welcome back to our last HPU News until the fall. I'm Sydney Chevront.
And I'm David Wintrow. Here are your closing stories for tonight. Everyone needs a break from once in a while.
Everyone needs a break every once in a while, and a Florida judge did just that. Florida Judge Elaine Durkee strips off her robe and heads to the yard outside the courthouse to teach yoga to anyone wanting to learn. Although the bailiffs tease her sometimes, Durkee says that it is a great way to find peace in her stressful day, even encouraging deep breathing in her courtroom. Durkee will continue these outdoor classes until it gets too hot outside.
And finally for tonight, rail lines may become a lot quieter and fuel efficient in the future. The first hydrogen-powered zero-emissions train was tested last month in Germany, and they performed just as well as diesel trains. Its only byproduct are steam and water. The train can travel up to 500 miles a day with 300 passengers on a single tank of hydrogen, which is way more than I can do. The Hydrail has already been ordered in 5 German states and expected to be running up by late 2018.
Thanks for tuning into HPU News throughout the spring. We're going to take a little break for a while.
But don't worry, we'll be right back next fall with plenty more to cover.
So until then, have a good night and a good summer, High Point. Goodbye, we'll see you all next fall.
I'll be there for
you.